Welcome to part 2 of the Premier League preview, brought to you by sportsbet.io. Do remember to like, subscribe, share and get your comments in for the latest previews to the Premier League, football across Europe, the Champions League, which is back, the NFL and the NBA as well. If you missed part 1, that's where we covered the big games. Paul Robinson and Neil Mellor giving their thoughts on Man City, Spurs, Arsenal, Forest and Southampton against Liverpool. In this part, we are looking at the rest of the action, offering their score predictions. And we're starting with the Enzo Maresca derby on 12:30 UK time on Saturday. It is Chelsea away at Leicester. Leicester 6.2 to win this one. Price is correct at time of recording. Chelsea are 1.51, 4.6 for the tie. Leicester have won just one home game all season in the Premier League and have scored just one goal in each of their 5 games. And after 5 consecutive away victories for Chelsea in the Premier League, they've not won their last 2 away games. I'm coming to you first, Neil, on this one. Thoughts and score prediction for Leicester against Chelsea?
Is it fair to say both are out of form? Leicester haven't won in 3 in the Premier League. Chelsea have won 1 in 5 in the Premier League. I think we're sort of convincing ourselves that Chelsea are a top side, and I think they've improved. But 1 win in 5 in the Premier League, I think they have to get a little bit more consistency. I think the draw against Arsenal shows they can compete. There's no doubt about that. I thought they played well at Anfield as well, even though they lost the game. These are the games Chelsea have to be winning if they want to be getting into that top 4 race, which I think they very much are. They're only 1 point clear of 9th, but they are sitting 3rd in the table at the moment, Chelsea. I fancy them to win. The early kickoff is never good after an international break. It shouldn't be allowed, but it is, and they're in that early kickoff spot. But yeah, I'm glad.
Klopp on again.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They've had players all around the world, and they've literally come back Thursday afternoon, and you're straight into a Saturday lunchtime kickoff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but it's Chelsea on the wrong end of this one. I think they'll have enough to win, but if this was Sunday, they win the game comfortably. So I think they narrowly win this game rather than convincing. I've got a away win, but Leicester have scored in all the home games. I'll give them a goal. Chelsea have scored in all their away games. I'll give them more than 1. 1-2 away win.
2-1 win for Chelsea. I know you said that Chelsea's form has dipped, but they played Forest at home. And Forest on paper, yeah, should beat Forest. But we've already talked about in part 1 how good Forest are away from home. They've lost away at Liverpool, beaten Newcastle at home, but then played away at Man United, which is still a relatively tough place to go, unless you're Liverpool. And they played at home to Arsenal. So their form has dipped, but that's because the teams they've been playing have been significantly tougher than teams they have beforehand. I will tell you now is that Leicester have only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 17 home games, so they're very good at conceding a goal in the Premier League. There's actually been a red card in each of the last 4 meetings between these two sides as well. Could be quite a feisty affair with the Enzo Maresca derby. Paul, your thoughts and score prediction for Leicester-Chelsea?
From 1 clean sheet in the last 6 for Chelsea. This is a regularity that both teams score in this fixture. Leicester's last 5 games, both teams have scored. It's landed in 4 of the last 5. Chelsea 4 of the last 6. So it's both teams to score. Leicester, for me, they're just conceding far too many goals. They've had at least 3 goals against them or more in the last 4 games. So it's not a good thing to be shipping the amount of goals that they are. Chelsea, Nicholas Jackson, he's on 6. They've won 5 of 11, drawn 4. Doing well. Neil Mellor's Chelsea this year. I'm sat there in 3rd position. Still not the finished article, but they don't often get a clean sheet. Overs in the goals. I quite fancy Chelsea to get a couple. Leicester will score. I'm going to go 1-3. I think Chelsea will win this 1-3.
I put 1-3 down before you told me. I thought that's where you were leaning towards. Yeah,
it's not
1-3.
It's not guesswork.
Yeah, it is. And of course, Leicester did lose 3-1 at home to Forest last time out. So you've both gone for an away win for Chelsea to start Matchday 12, the first game of the weekend, Leicester against Chelsea. And then we're moving to a 3 p.m. kickoff, which is Bournemouth at home to Brighton. Bournemouth are 2.36, Brighton are 3.45 for the tie. Bournemouth have won their last 3 Premier League games at home. In the Premier League, they have never won 4 consecutive games at home. And Brighton have won just 3 of their last 20 away games in the Premier League. I'm coming to you first, Paul, on this one. Bournemouth against Brighton.
2 of those 3 home games, though. Man City and Arsenal.
Correct.
I mean, there's some decent results.
Absolutely.
But they're still 12th, aren't they? 3 wins in the last 6, but 2 of them are against Arsenal and Man City. Evan Nielsen's got his goals, got 4 goals. This is generally a good fixture. You look at this, there's normally goals in this fixture. Neither of these 2 sides have had a clean sheet in the last 3 games. So Brighton, listen, you know what Brighton are this season. They're looking good again. Bournemouth as I say, better at home. This will be a good game, this one. I think you look at it, the South Coast derby, not so sure it's necessarily, they see it as a derby, but Matt O'Reilly back fit as well. So Brighton have scored first in 5 of 6 away. So all these stats I'm looking at and all my notes and that I'm reading, I can't separate them. There's not going to be a clean sheet for either side. I'm going to sit on the fence with a 1-1 draw.
I'm surprised you're going for such a low-scoring game as well, because as you mentioned, there's I mean, Bournemouth have won 2 of the last 3 games at home to Brighton, and in those victories, Bournemouth scored 3, and Brighton beat Bournemouth at home last season, and they also scored 3. So whoever tends to win this game scores over 2.5 goals themselves. I actually really like the job that's been done at Bournemouth. I think they're having a phenomenal season. So you've gone for the 1-1 tie between Bournemouth and Brighton. It's not actually generally a tie between these two sides. Neil, your thought and score prediction for Bournemouth against Brighton, please.
Yeah, 2 good teams. Yeah, I think this will be a really good game to watch. Been impressed with Bournemouth, certainly at home. I think they're a tough side to beat at home. They've only lost 1 of the 5 games. Brighton, what a result that was for Brighton to beat Manchester City last time out. 2 late goals. Paul mentioned it there. I think O'Reilly coming back fit, I think that's a massive boost for them. João Pedro as well off the bench. So a few key players becoming available again for Brighton. They've got the goal threat. I think they've got the goal threat. I'd actually sway more towards Brighton winning this one than Bournemouth. Really do like Brighton. But I'm the same. I've had it written down. I'm prepared for it. I am sitting on the fence. Can't see either winning it. Brighton maybe nicking it, but I'm going to sit on the fence with a 1-1 draw as well.
Wow, there you are. I will tell you now, it's 10 meetings since these teams last played out a draw back in 2018. Goal scorers that day, Anthony Knockhart and Glenn Murray for Brighton. That's how far back we're going. And Steve Cook and Callum Wilson for Bournemouth. They were the goal scorers that day. So we've not had a tie between these two sides since literally the first day of 2018. But you've gone both for the 1-1 tie, I have to be honest. My opinions and predictions don't matter, but I do fancy Bournemouth in this one. Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. That is where we are going next. Aston Villa a 1.61, Crystal Palace a 5.6, 4.1 for the tie. We talk about how the likes of Arsenal and Man City are off colour. Well, so are Aston Villa. No winning 5 for Villa, and they've lost their last 4 games straight in all competitions. And it's 1 defeat in 4 for Crystal Palace, which includes a 2-1 victory at Aston Villa in the League Cup. Palace could be argued fairly tempting at 5.6. Neil, your thoughts?
No, it could be argued. Is that just you? It's just you.
I think Palace. Yeah. I think Palace.
You totally contradicted yourself in that sentence, because at the beginning of that you said not that my views or opinions count, and then you've ended it off. You tailed it off with I fancy Palace.
I think Palace are tempting at 5.6, but your point is true. My opinion doesn't matter.
It does to us.
Well, Aston Villa's home form. Do you remember last season when their home form was just incredible and they were beating everybody at home?
They lost 1 at home this season.
Yeah, but their home form has not been too good. Villa have only won 6 of the last 15 Premier League games at home.
But only losing 1 this season.
But not. I think Palace might get something from this.
He's all over Palace.
I'm going to go for the draw 1-1. Thanks. We'll move on to the next game. Neil, your thoughts and score prediction on this one, please.
Comfortable home win, no chance Palace. I mean, Villa have had a little bit of a dip, hadn't they? So it came at a good time, that international break for them. 1 win in 6, 2 defeats in a row. Disappointing draws at home to United. That came after the Bayern Munich game, so I could maybe think they put loads into the Munich game and a little bit not at it against United. Late equaliser conceded against Bournemouth, so they were a couple of drop points there. They've only had 1 clean sheet this season. I think that's a problem for Villa. I think that's where they need to improve. I think that's where they get it against Palace, who don't score enough goals. Mateta and Eze, who else is going to score for them? 1 win all season in the Premier League for Palace. 1 win all season. They've not even won away from home this season. I am all over an Aston Villa home win. And don't forget, there'll be a few players in that Villa dressing room that go, remember last season, lads? We got turned over 5-0 by this lot. It won't happen again. So, comfortable home win, 2-0 for Villa.
I was about to ask, can you remember what happened last time these teams met? And yeah, it was Crystal Palace 5, Aston Villa 0 at Selhurst Park. Actually, it was 3-1 in the return leg to Aston Villa. So generally, when these teams meet, you are getting plenty of goals. So no belief from Mel's at all that Palace can get something from this one. What about you, Paul? Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah. They've only won 1 all season. Drawn 4. No wins away from home. 3 defeats, 2 draws. They've got players missing. You look at the injury list that Palace could potentially have. Eze, Wharton and Nketiah, all potentially injured players missing. They've not got it going this year at all, Palace. They've signed an influx of attacking players, but actually it hasn't quite clicked for them. I think they're sat in 18th place in the bottom three. Villa Park's always a tough place to go. I struggle to make a case for them. I agree with you. They're a very tempting price if you're a Crystal Palace fan. I don't think there's anybody else that are going to be backing Crystal Palace this weekend outside of South London. So for me, a Villa win. I think it'll be going in a lot of people's accas. Do fancy both teams to score because, like Mel's touched on there, Villa don't regularly keep clean sheets. Comfortable 3-1 Villa.
I will tell you now, if you want a game of cards, by the way, 9 of the last 10 meetings between these two sides have produced 4 or more cards. The last time Palace got anything at Aston Villa in the Premier League was back in 2013 when Dwight Gale scored. So basically, if Aston Villa are 3-0 up at half-time, I am shutting down WhatsApp. Is basically what's going to be happening on Saturday afternoon. Guys, gone for a comfortable victory for Aston Villa. Next up, it's Everton against Brentford. So get the prices up on this one. Everton are 2.4, Brentford are 3.4 for the tie in the Neil Mellor derby. After 5 consecutive wins at home in the Premier League, Everton have won just 1 of the last 5 games at home. And I have a question regarding Brentford. In fact, I'll ask this question now. Brentford have 16 points so far this season in the Premier League. How many of those points have Brentford won at home so far this season?
All of them. They've not got one away.
16.
It's amazing that, isn't it? Brentford are top. Brentford are top of the home league table in the Premier League. So they're better than Man City, they're better than Liverpool, better than Arsenal. And yet away from home, they're second bottom. Only Southampton are worse on goal difference.
They've lost all 5, but they've scored the first goal in 4 of them.
Well, I'll tell you now, Brentford have scored a goal in the first half in every single one of their last 12 fixtures.
They've taken the lead in the 4 of the 5 away games they've lost. It's an amazing stat, and what they do from the set plays, every single point they've got is at home. And they haven't got a great record against Everton. Everton won the last 3 against Brentford. So Brentford's away form's got to start somewhere. Everton lost the first 2 home games of the season, but they're unbeaten in the last 3 at home. Tough one to call this.
Well, you're going first. Give me your score prediction, because it sounds like you're possibly leaning more towards the home side.
Well, there you go. Look, you can look at my notes. I was waiting to see if I went second on this one, because I was going to see what Mel said. So I'm going to have to go with my first prediction, 2-1 Everton. Or, depending on what he said, I was going to go for a 1-1 draw. So I'm going to go 2-1 to the Toffees.
2-1 to the Toffees.
I do like Everton. I've got a soft spot for Everton. That's a Neville Southall.
Yeah, he's your idol, isn't he?
Yeah, he was when I was a kid,
Paul's gone for 2-1. Actually, Everton have won the last 3 games against Brentford, including the last 2 at Goodison Park, which both finished by a 1-0. So clean sheets for Everton at home to Brentford. What about you then, Neil? Are you back in the blue side of Liverpool to get something from this one?
No, not at all. No, both of those predictions were safe, Paul, because I'm going the other way. Fancy Brentford to win. Last time they won away at Everton, and it's the only time since 1946. History was made in the first half because there was a red card, an own goal, and a penalty, which hasn't happened in any Premier League game before, but it happened in one half. There you go. And Branthwaite was the player who got sent off after 18 minutes. Everton were turned over 3-2. I see Everton getting turned over. Brentford are a good side. They've been very good at home. Maybe not had that little bit of luck at times away. I just think Everton throw in a terrible result every now and then, and this could be that one. So I'm on Brentford to win away. Not many goals in the game, but Brentford to nick it 1-0.
Wow.
It might not be pretty, this one. This might not be one for the purists, this game, mightn't it?
So with Brentford's away form being as bad as it is, and there's only Southampton and goal difference whose away form is worse. Is Brentford winning away at Everton more out there than Crystal Palace winning away at Aston Villa?
Will you just leave that Crystal Palace alone?
Everton have won 1 home game. Everton have won 1 game at home this season. Everton are in the relegation battle.
No, Palace is a bigger shock at Villa if that happens.
Do you think so?
Yeah, of course. Brentford finish above Everton this season.
Yeah, this will determine whether WhatsApp stays on or off over the course of the weekend. So a split opinion. I think this is the first time we've really had a split opinion where you've gone for a home win for you, Paul, and a away win for you, Neil. Next up, 3 p.m. on Saturday is Fulham at home to Wolves. Fulham are 1.66. Wolves are 5.1, 4.1 for the tie. Fulham have won their last game at home. Only once so far in 2024 have they won consecutive Premier League games at home, and after losing 11 in 12 Premier League games, Wolves have not lost any of their last 3 games. So a bit of an upturn in form for Wolves, possibly a bit more confidence. I'm coming to you first, Neil, in this one. Fulham against Wolves. Thoughts and score prediction, please.
Worry for Wolves. Yeah, worry for Wolves. Paul was at the game against Southampton. Maybe got away with it. Needed that bit of luck because Southampton goal disallowed should never have been disallowed. And maybe they dropped points there, but they end up getting a vital victory. I just think Wolves are a poor side. Without Aït-Nouri and Cunha, I'm thinking I see them going down this season. That's how bad I think Wolves are. See them getting nothing from this game. Fulham are a decent side. Could have done without the international break. Got that good win away at Palace. Harry Wilson's been in good form. There's some good players in that Fulham side. They're much better than Wolves. 2-0 home win.
Not just gone for a Fulham victory, you've gone for a clean sheet as well, which is interesting because actually Wolves have scored 7 away goals so far this season. That's as many as Fulham have scored away from home, Forest and Spurs. So we talk about Forest's away form and how good it is. They've actually scored the same number of goals away from home this season as have Wolves. Wolves have scored 3 at Brentford and didn't win. There's the problem. They scored 2 at Brighton last time out. So they are good for the goal away from home, Wolves, but you're thinking Fulham can keep a clean sheet. Paul, your thoughts and score prediction, please.
They're just outside the top 4, Fulham, when you look at the table. I mean, they're 7th.
Yeah.
Had a good start. You know what the job that Marco Silva's done there. And at home, they're strong. They've only lost 1 Premier League game at home. I knew Mel's was going to go back Fulham at home because he does every week. So I've done an opposite. I've gone for a draw. I've gone 1-1. Wolves have got to get started at some point. At first half last week, they were outplayed by Southampton. Southampton should have gone in at least winning the game. The win against Southampton, the draw against Palace, 1 win, 7 losses, 19th, second bottom table doesn't lie for Wolves. But as you say, they've scored in the last 4 away, yet to win away, but they have picked up a couple of draws on the road. An unlikely draw for Wolves, 1 apiece.
Wolves did get a 1-1 draw at Craven Cottage back in the 22-23 season. Actually, they got a good record against Fulham of Wolves. They've won 3 of the last 5 meetings, a couple of draws in there, although Fulham did win last time at home. What I will tell you is that, of course, that's a different Wolves side. If you're right about Fulham, by the way, Fulham win and results go their way, they could go third. Yeah, they could go third, Fulham, if they win and results
so
go
there you
their
go
way.
then. What would be a bigger shock, Palace winning at Villa or Wolves winning at Fulham?
Will you just leave the Crystal Palace thing? I will tell you that, split opinion, Fulham against Wolves, home win for Neil and a draw for Paul. Now we go on to a big game at 4:30 on Sunday. Ruben Amorim's first game in charge of Man United, facing Ipswich Town, who of course themselves, Kieran McKenna was the former Man United under-18s manager before being promoted to the first team coach. He left Man United to join Ipswich. The pricing in this one, 5.3 for Ipswich. Manchester United are 1.63, 4.1 for the tie. Paul, I'm coming to you first on this one. A new dawn for Manchester United. Will it be a winning one away at Portman Road?
Well, it's an interesting one, and everybody will be watching it. All eyes will be on Portman Road this weekend because he plays such a different system. And we're on to what Manchester United are used to, the 3-4-3 formation. Whether he's going to come in and implement that straight away, I'm not sure. Manchester United got 3 centre-halves that would play in that system at the moment. Whether he's going to have to adapt, whether he's going to have to put a midfielder in there, the way that they're going to play. Listen, they're unbeaten under Van Nistelrooy, aren't they? 3-0 Leicester, Europa League win, draw against Chelsea. But Manchester United, as Mel's will take great pride in telling you, are in the bottom half of the Premier League. This is a bottom half clash. Man United's 13th, won 4 of 11 games. Yeah. 15th in the Europa League. So, you know, where they are. There's a lot of stats around this game. There's ways in. I think Manchester United are short. Listen, it's not an easy place for him to go to in his first Premier League game. There's easier ones that you could think of. Ipswich have scored in 8 of their 11 Premier League games. If you fancy an Ipswich goal scorer, Delap's one. He's got 6, half of the entire total that Ipswich have got. But actually, Man United's last 3 away games and have been +3 goals. And of Ipswich's last 5 home games, sorry, got that wrong. I'll give you that again. Manchester United's last 3 away games and Ipswich's 3 of last 5 home games have all been a tie at half-time. So if you fancy a winner in this, the tie at half-time is the play. So I'm going for a draw at half-time, Man United to win.
Scorelines?
I knew you could win that.
Yeah,
all I've written is under 2.5 goals. I've not got a scoreline. If it's going to have to be a good second half. If it's 0-0 at half-time, and I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Man United.
So what, we're going for a half-time? 0-0, 1-1?
Possibly, yeah. I'm going to go 2-1. Doesn't matter that, does it? That's
I want to know now.
Is that the clincher?
I'm pushing
Is that
you
like
now,
when you get ITV7, you're backing the horse with it by a head, neck, or a full length?
You've gone.
I'm going to go 1-1 at half time.
Okay, and then 2-1.
So in the last 3 United away games, it's been a draw at half time.
Yeah.
And 3 of 5 of Ipswich's home games have been a draw at half time. So 1-1 half time, 2-1 United win.
Liam Delap will be desperate to score, of course, because he started out his career at Manchester City, the other side of Manchester, of course. I've got a question before I come to Mel's. Man United last played at Ipswich in April 2002, winning 1-0. Who scored the only goal of the game for Manchester United?
Oh, eerie silence. He sat quite smug. Has he recently just managed them?
Beckham.
Maybe.
Van Nistelrooy.
Is the right answer?
Yes.
That's rather annoying, isn't it? Penalty in the 45th minute. It was a dubious penalty as well. Here's some names for you. He was brought down in the sandwich between John McGreal and Titus Bramble, the defenders for Ipswich that day. Of course, can we remember what the scoreline was when Ipswich played at Old Trafford in 1995?
Was it 9?
9-0. Yeah, Man United 9, Ipswich Town 0. So you've gone for an away victory, a winning start for Ruben Amorim, who's got the perfect CV coming into this one. 4 managerial jobs so far, over 70% win percentage in all 4. What's your thoughts then, Neil? Are you backing an away win for lower table Man United?
Yeah, I mean, they're 8 points clear at the moment. You know, if they do lose to Ipswich, they'll be looking over the shoulders, that relegation places. United have been poor this season. They've changed the manager they needed to. I look at the new manager, and he's got charisma. He's got a bit about him. You're thinking, okay, he represents Manchester United a little bit better. So I expect an upturn in fortunes. I expect them to win this game. 4th lowest scorers in the Premier League. I think that will change. I think United will be scoring more goals under the new manager. Like you say, Delap's been superb. He's got 6 Premier League goals this season. An ex-City, he'll be desperate to score. Ipswich have been competitive and got a great result against Spurs. Of course they did. They haven't won at home this season. And you're thinking that they need to start picking up wins rather than just the draws. United to win this one comfortably, actually. I'm all over a comfortable away win. And I'll throw a question in, you throw one in there, and it's similar time to that 9-0. Last time Ipswich beat United was 1994 in the league. It was 3-2. I don't want the Ipswich scorers because I think that's too hard. Mason got 2 and Sedgley got 1. I don't think you'd have got that. What I do want is the Man United scorers. 1994, they got turned over 3-2 at Portman Road in the league. Who got United's goals? Come on. It's a couple of great players for United, these two.
1994, goal scorers for Man United, 1994.
Andrew Cole.
No, I think it's before his time.
Before that time?
Yeah, you're probably
Mark
talking
Hughes.
Brian McClare.
Andrei Kanchelskis.
One was English and one was French.
Cantona.
Cantona, there we go. So he got 1.
Lee Sharp.
No, he's regarded as one of England's greatest midfielders, along with Gerrard and
Paul Ince.
Paul Ince.
Scholes. It's not Scholes, is it?
Scholes.
94.
19 Scholes got himself the goal, yeah. By the way, Ince was a great player. I'm not laughing at that.
I pretty much will put money on Scholes getting a yellow card in that one for a late challenge at some point in that one as well. I know, 94 makes you feel old, doesn't it? So what's your score prediction, Neil?
Comfortable win for United, 3-1.
3-1. I will tell you that Ruben Amorim, rather interesting, when he was studying to become a manager, he went on a psychology course, and as part of that course, he spent a week at Man United with Jose Mourinho. So he spent a week at Man United getting to grips with how it is to be a manager. And after winning 4 points in 8 games, Ipswich, they've actually won 4 points in their last 2. So there is a bit of an upturn for Ipswich. Both of you have gone for an away victory. And the final game of the day, and this is the Premier League, thinking of football fans, with an away day Monday night clash for West Ham from London, travelling all the way up north to Newcastle, finishing off match day 12. Newcastle are 1.51 to win this one. West Ham are 6.2, 4.6 for the tie. After no wins in 5 Premier League games, Newcastle have won their last 2 Premier League games and 3 games straight if you count the League Cup. And West Ham have conceded have lost 6 of their last 10 away games, including the last 2 where they've conceded 7 goals in 2 games. Neil, I'm coming to you first. Newcastle against West Ham.
Did you see the Isak goal disallowed for Sweden?
Do you ever go out?
I think the answer to that one is from Robbo is no.
Okay, well, no, I haven't been out. So, do you know what? I don't even enjoy watching Nations League football, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. But here we go. Isak scored for Sweden. I didn't watch the game, but I've seen it on the socials. He got past the ball near the halfway line, ran with it, cut inside, brilliant goal. Disallowed for offside. He was 3 yards onside. It's just a terrible decision. Just look it up. It was just disgraceful. Anyway,
did they have VAR in the game?
Yeah, VAR called it offside. They went back and called it. Honestly, you'll see it and go, what's happening? What is happening to our game? Anyway, the reason I mention it is because Isak is on fire. He's on fire for Sweden. He's on fire for Newcastle. And I think Isak will score in this game. I think he's one of the top centre-forwards in the Premier League. Newcastle haven't scored enough goals at home. That has been a problem for them. They've won 3 games at home, but they've played 5, scored 5. That's quite low for Newcastle. I think that will improve in this game. West Ham have been disappointing, haven't they? So a tough away game for them. I'm on Newcastle to win this one comfortably. Isak to score. Newcastle 3, West Ham 1.
It's interesting how, Newcastle haven't been in great form this season, and yet they're very much like Fulham or Brighton or even Forest. If results go their way, they could actually go 3rd in the table. Newcastle are in 18th. If you look at the Premier League table, from 3rd all the way down to 9th, they're all separated by 1 point. I've got an Isak question for you then, Neil, before I come to you, Paul. How many goals has Isak scored against West Ham in his last 3 games against the Hammers?
No idea. Be plucking numbers out of the sky. No idea.
5.
4.
It's annoying that he got that right.
Straight on the nose.
Yeah, 5.
Good effort.
That's quite annoying.
That's it.
Isak has 5 goals in 3 games against West Ham. Harvey Barnes, Joe Linton and Callum Wilson all have 2 goals in 3 games against West Ham. You're getting the idea that when Newcastle have beaten West Ham, they've absolutely smashed them. Interesting though, complete opposite. 5 of the last 6 games at St James's Park have been under 2.5 goals. So something's got to give. Paul, your thoughts, score prediction for Newcastle West Ham?
Well, Lopetegui's in a real rut, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's bang under pressure. You look at their fixtures coming up as well. You almost think this is a pivotal game for West Ham because the pressure is under. They're away at Newcastle Monday, then they're at home to Arsenal, and then they've got a run of fixtures where you would think that whether he or a new manager would get some victories. All the stats surrounding this game, looking at it, go against West Ham. 3 losses, no wins in the last 5 away. No clean sheets in 11 against Newcastle. Newcastle unbeaten in the last 5 against West Ham. I'm all over a home win. Hard to back anything else other than a home win. I have got exactly 3-1 written down. No clean sheet for either of these two, by the way. The last 7 meetings between the two sides, neither have kept a clean sheet.
Yeah.
I've got 3-1 written down. The bet is both teams to score over 2.5 goals. I'm going to change mine just for the game and go 4-1.
4-1.
Just for the game. Because Monday night it might all still be to play for. So I'm going to go Monday night 4-1.
It won't.
Do you remember the scoreline when these teams last met at St James's Park? Newcastle United 4, West Ham 3. That's why we've had so many goals from Newcastle players. There's been a 4-3, a 2-2 draw, and Newcastle won 5-1 at West Ham last season as well, if you remember. So that is match day 12 covered here on the Premier League Preview, brought to you by sportsbet.io. And always, please do gamble responsibly. Now it's time to look at the score predictions and how the guys fared for match day 11. I think it's fair to say that one of you is going to enjoy the next few minutes more than the other. You are playing for the sportsbet.io trophy. Do you want to hold that, Paul? You here?
No, I can confirm that it's as underwhelming in real life as it is on the screen.
You want this, you know you want this. It's a trophy. We've said before, you're a Spurs player. You want Spurs player. You want any trophy. So was it 3 or 4 weeks where you literally drew all the time? The rules of the game are that if you get a correct result, you get 1 point. If you get a correct score, you get 3 points. We'll tally up the scores and see who came out on top. And I think there was 3 or 4 weeks consecutively where you drew. Not the case this time around, because I have to say that Neil Mellor absolutely walloped you into submission.
What score was it?
He did so well. Well, he got 3 correct scores. I think.
No, I didn't say what he got right. I don't listen loving. I just said what score was it.
I don't know what the score is. I have to count it up, but I'm going to enjoy it.
A lot. Well, I can see that mine. I got.
It's 14. He got 14 points,
and I got 6.
You got 6.
Yeah, okay, fair one.
So
by the way, that's a great week that for Mel. Look at
that's what I mean. Look at that. That's amazing.
I think that's possibly one of the best ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why
Scores.
That's why I'm being nice to Mel's, because he deserves it, because that's quality. Although on the overall score, it's still 4-4.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean? How many times have you
We're
seen
like
a
two
team?
slugs trying to get to the top of a window, aren't we?
How many times have you seen a team be 2-0 down, they come back to level it to 2-2 and still go on and lose the game of football? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play.
Gav, how many weeks is it that since Paul won? Is it 7 now? Is that 7 weeks Paul hasn't beaten?
Been waiting for that.
I think it is, but I think you're 1 win in 4, 1 win in 5.
Yeah.
So.
Dress the start up to make it sound like you like. Yeah.
Although it gets even better. So that's match day 11. So at the moment, the final score is it's 4-4. So you all tie as you're trying to get your hands on the sportsbet.io trophy. I can't get an image of two slugs trying to climb their way up a window out my head now.
Well, if you did it last season, I beat him 18-14 last season. My name should be on there already.
We'll get it Tipexed on at the bottom for next week. Right, now time for the trebles. And this is also where we say well done to Neil Mellor, because he landed his treble, and it was a fairly big one as well. So, match day 11, your treble was Liverpool, Newcastle and Wolves, which came out at 7.37. We put 10 USDT every week on your bets, and the money that we make at the end of the season, we will donate to charity. So this was, of course, for 73 USDT back, and it landed. So you're off and running, Neil. You've got money in the bank. So, Neil Mellor, this week, who are your trebles? Who's your 3 picks, please?
Villa's my banker. They're in there. Newcastle as well. And Manchester United.
For your sake, I hope Crystal Palace don't cause an upset at Villa Park. That is just over 4, by the way. So we've put 10 USDT on that, which of course clearly means if your treble lands, you go into the over the 100 mark with the winnings. And Paul, you've got ground to make up. Your treble for match day 12, please.
Chelsea, Liverpool and Newcastle.
And that is 2.96. So I wish you the very best of luck. Which, hey, you know what? Money's money.
It adds to what I've already... Oh, I've not won anything. Oh.
That'll be a return of just under 30 USDT as the competition is definitely warming up. So thank you, guys. That is the score predictions for match day 12 done and dusted. I have some rather good news that there is no international break now till March, so we are back next time for the score predictions for match day 13. As always, thank you, guys, for your time. Very much appreciate it. And we'll be back for match day 13. Until then, please do gamble responsibly.